Welcome, everyone, to Influential Leadership Tips. My name's Dave Miller.
And I'm John Hadley. Dave, I wanted to talk a little bit about a technique out of a book I've been reading called Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, a former FBI hostage negotiator. And you don't get into much more high stakes, high emotion negotiation than when you're dealing with hostage negotiations. But he brings these techniques down to a level that we can use it in having influential conversations and interviews and networking. So I thought we could turn a few of these into good tips.
That sounds interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. The way this came about was that I was reading it was a client's father was going to help her with the work, funding the work we were going to do together. And he wanted to talk to me about my methodology and telling him how I work with people. And he says, what you're talking about, it sounds very similar to some of the concepts in this book. Have you read it? And as I've been going through it, I'm saying, yeah, this really fits well with what we teach people.
Mm-hmm.
So the technique I want to talk about today is mirroring.
Oh, I know how to do that. It's like this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. Hold on. I've got to get you right. There you are. I'm mirroring you right now.
And it's really powerful.
Every move.
So, a lot of people talk about body language and, matching up the body language. The person, crosses their arms and you cross their arms and that sort of thing. And it's really powerful. But it's really powerful if it's subtle. A lot of us aren't so good at doing it in a very subtle way. And then it can become just this artificial technique. And there are other ways other aspects of mirroring. But the one I want to talk about today is language. Mirroring words, which I think has a lot of power because words have meaning. One of the things I try to teach my job search clients is in an interview, someone says an emotional word. That emotional word, that has meaning to them. Like if we're talking and you were to say to me, I just hate it when people are late for meetings. And I say, yeah, I understand why that bothers you. What's your reaction to that?
My reaction, it's okay, but I think there's a little bit break in rapport, right? Because they said they hate it, and you substitute with the word bother.
Right.
So maybe another way to do it, and, don't want to steal your thunder here, but would it be say, well, what do you hate about it?
Absolutely. There's meaning to that word that
Right.
you've used. So if you try to paraphrase and use a different word because it feels so funny to just repeat their word, don't. Because when you use a different word, it's at least mentally they're thinking that's not how I feel. I feel this way. So and it really encourages the person to go deeper. And a more robust aspect of it is even just repeating back the critical words that someone said or the last words they've said. And Chris gives a great example of this in the book about someone who had gone through his negotiation course. And she had a situation where she had this boss, she's a consultant, a boss who's kind of unreasonable, very difficult to ever get him to change his mind about anything, comes to her at 5 o'clock at night to say, I need you to make 2 copies of all of the client documents, thousands of pages of documents. And it was basically because he doesn't trust digital backups. And she just used mirroring, basically repeating things back like, I'm sorry, you want 2 copies of everything? And it caused him to go deeper and to explain himself. And by the end of the conversation, he wasn't getting upset with her or anything. By the end of the conversation, it turned out he said, well, just make a digital copy and put it on my desk. So she never had to make the thousands of pages of copies to begin with. So really powerful stuff. And I was thinking of an example as I'm reading it. I'm going, this is exactly the sort of thing that I've taught people around negotiation, for instance. I had a client who he was very concerned about negotiating salary at all because he'd been looking for a very long time before we started working together. So he was ready to jump at anything that he would be offered.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to him, okay, here's why you should think about negotiating. But if you're really uncomfortable, that's fine. But if you want to try just something really simple, just do this. If you're offered something that's not what you're looking for, just repeat it back to him. Just say, $90,000. And just stop. Do not say anything else and wait. And he did that. And it led to the hiring manager starting to talk about, well, what were you looking for? Tell me what you're hoping for. And he raised the salary $10,000.
Wow.
So it's a very powerful technique.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? I'm sure you've employed some of these ideas yourself.
Oh yeah, especially in the sales training, even in the leadership, it's definitely applicable. Anytime in any relationship where you want to have some rapport with someone and that connection for influence, it's key to do that.
Yeah.
So this is a great tip. So how do you want people to apply this?
Well, one of the things is that you have to be careful. The words have meaning. So this forces you to really listen carefully. You can't repeat back the words if you've been focused on what am I going to say next and how, where's things going to go, and you don't get exactly the words. So you got to listen really carefully. And my homework assignment would be in the next week, just find some situations where you'd like to take things to another level. You'd like to find out more about what's behind a particular proposal or the issue somebody's having, and just try repeating back the last few words or the last few very important words that they've said, and just stop. Just interesting. So, you said that blah, 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 and stop and see what happens. See where it goes.
Yeah, great tip.
So that's what I wanted to share today. Look forward to talking to you all next week.
In the meantime, be influential.